G'day, it's Clive Rocksinger here. I've managed to push this project along a fair bit further. What occurred to me with this job, when I said it was a huge job, I think what's making it complicated for me is inability to get parts, inability to get advice, a small range of hand power tools, and the fact that I'm making this whole thing out of scrap. It sort of never really occurred to me. It's something I've always done. It's nice to be able to buy new metal, and that box section, in actual fact, I think that particular one, I don't know whether I bought it, there was one I got down the tip, and then I bought another brand new one, and I've been buying a lot of stuff, but basically I'm making all this out of scrap. As you can see here, this thing has all been made out of bits and pieces, and you have to disassemble the scrap and cut it and grind it and shape it. But I've got this really nice now. This journal here, I didn't like it, only had a bite on half of the journal, so I've now reground that, and it doesn't matter that it actually touches the motor because it's the bearing that's rotating. So that's now got a full bolt hole on either side there. That bolts under that plate there, and I don't know, I seem to be going through continuous thread month. Everything I'm doing now is falling back on continuous threads. This is stuff that my father had. He was a diesel mechanic for the AGM, Australian Glass Manufacturers, in Footscray, Melbourne, near the Westgate Bridge where it fell down. Some of his mates died in that. Yeah, so my father had a lot of this continuous thread, and being a bit of a hoarder, I've kept it all these years, and now I've found I'm using it. I've got this length here, which is enough, and I'm going to have to remake all of the bolt-up nuts to put this contraption back on, because I've used 4 of them on this bolt-up here, and I can't find the original, so I don't know what I've done with them off that motor. So I don't know what to do with the bolts, so I'm going to have to make all new ones temporarily until I can get new ones. But they'll do the job. It's the same principle. It's a little bit iffy with the head, but providing you get an open ender on it or whatever, and tighten it down properly. Oh, it has to be put on with a ring and then taken off with an open ender. You know, providing I put them on nice and tight, should be fine. And I can put all the bolts in because there were some of them missing. And whatever I have missing, being a continuous thread, I can run it all the way through. So I've got quite a bit of this stuff lying out the back. Yeah, everything's been going pretty good. I bought myself a new tool again, and this time this is something that, you know, I've got hacksaws that go back. These are, you know, that's one I bought at the cheap shop for $2, I think. And you know, you buy them second hand, you buy them cheap, and, you know. But now that my engineering shop is starting to take a bit of momentum, I've got my brand new grinder there. I've got a new bench top, and I bought myself a hacksaw. I bought a square top hacksaw. Very nice indeed. Nice and solid. Cut through it, didn't wiggle when I was cutting it. Very nice unit. I spent that little bit more money. I thought I'm not going to go backwards and buy cheap junk from my new workshop. I'm going to buy good stuff. And that's come nice. This thing got a little dangerous, the grinder, and I took the guard off it, but I bought a whole pile of these at a garage sale, these big ones, and it turns out that this machine, well, that's my rack I made up, that's for all my old ones because I'm going to reuse them. This is the one that I was using, and this is much bigger than the one I'm ever used to, but it worried me that it was a diameter. I thought if that flies apart it's going to cut me in half, so what I did was I put the guard back on. And now that's quite safe. It's funny how you come full circle. I originally took it off, but now I've got that back on again because these wheels are so big, if they split in two and hit me in the face, it wouldn't be particularly recommended. And also, I've been dealing with a place, and now I found I've got to work with bearings, and as you can see here, I've been having heating problems, so I'm going to get me gas heater out. That thing's incredible. It's so hot you can't put it in the tent. It's a camping heater, and it goes on a gas bottle, and it's so hot you can't put it in the tent. It says you. I've had that outside in like 1 degree in front of, and it's like a campfire, it's so hot. But as you can see, I'm collecting all my bearings together and me pulleys and all that sort of stuff. And this is basically me design, my little design nook here. And the thing that I found very interesting was I got this from Wimmera Bearings. I told them I was designing things and they let me have one of these. I've got to identify some of these bearings that I'm using, and so I've now got the book that they gave me, which I thought was wonderful. I don't understand half of how to use it, so I'll have to look up it. It's got a lot of explanations there I don't understand. But they gave me the book, Wimmera Bearings gave me that, and that's the place that I bought the pulley off. So this is a very good mob, you know. And they've been on my side all along. I just didn't realise that they were down the back street and I've been dealing with somebody else. So I'm back on board with Wimmera Bearings again and again. So you deal with good people and you get good results. See, every time I deal with these people I seem to do alright. So they're apparently on board with me doing designs and stuff, and they're good enough. You give me that for nothing. You give me it for nothing. How's that, eh? Very, very cool. So I'm going to be using that book pretty heavily. I said I was going to do things, but I said, look, it might be 10 years before I start doing it. Well, sure enough, it has been. But yeah, I'm getting around it, and I will eventually learn how to use that book. So things are coming along very nicely now. And I've realised that the compressor now is very good for cleaning down the bench, because I've got a nice flexible air hose now, and I actually just did a bit of woodworking as such, which I normally hate doing. On this thing here I use that as a stand, and I ground it off with wood and then blew the bench off with the air hose. It's nice and low pressure so it doesn't blow all my nuts and bolts off, and swept the floor, and yeah, so it's actually coming up quite good now. I mean, this is as clean as you're going to get a workshop. If you work in a bloody workshop, you'd be hard pressed at home to have a workshop as clean as this. I was a hydraulic rebuilder for 15 years, and I used to set up sections and stuff. I'm very, very clean about my work, so you know, this is pretty clean for a regular workshop. But yeah, things are coming along nicely. I'm in the closing stages now. I've remade this thing, and I've got all the bits made up, and now I'm entering into the assembly stages. So, Clive Roxinger, over and out.